Good evening, BookTube, YouTube, the world of humanity. This is Johnny. When I was growing up, they called me Johnny Ray. That's my name, Johnny Ray. The only person who calls me Johnny Ray, sometimes, it's rare, is my wife. But my cousins and my family members would call me Johnny Ray, because that's my middle name, Johnny Ray. And it's J-O-N-N-Y. It's not J-O-H-N-N-Y. It's J-O-N-N-Y. And Ray is R-A-Y. Johnny Ray. And my last name is Keen, K-E-A-N. So yeah, so this is Johnny Ray. This is a Monday night reads. It is 8:56 here in Southwest Michigan. It is February the 4th, 2019. It is 71 degrees inside the hermit hut. Having a cup of tea, writing in my diary. Usually I don't write in my diary at night, but I felt the need to write down my existence, to write down something of what I'm doing at this present moment in my little span of time in the flow of cosmic time. We're here but for a moment, and then we are gone. So I'm having a cup of tea, writing in my diary. I'm on page 102 tonight. And I thought I'd make a video of what I read today. First of all, I showed this book, Fire Within, St. Teresa of Avila, St. John of the Cross, and the Gospel and Prayer by Thomas Dubay. I showed that I really like this book, and as I have said, that I have been reading St. John of the Cross for many years, and then a number of years ago I always had like the Interior Castle by St. Teresa Avila. But many years ago, I took spiritual direction classes and I dropped out. You know, I've mentioned why in previous videos, why I stopped taking spiritual direction classes. But why I was taking those classes, I've shown this is the collected works of St. John of the Cross. This is the one I have several. I have a hardback and I have a clean paperback edition. This one I used for devotions. You can tell it's all beat up. I bought this one, as I've told you the story in many videos, I bought this when we were in seminary at Reformed Theological Seminary in Jackson, Mississippi. I had a copy when I went to seminary, but one day when I was using it for a class, we were reading it for something, I noticed it was missing pages. And I had bought that edition many years ago when in San Francisco, a Catholic bookstore in San Francisco, California. But, so I told you the story how I called around in Jackson, Mississippi, where we were going to seminary, and I found a small, I think it was an Episcopalian church that had a little book room, and they have this copy, and I bought it. This one is when I mark with pencil. I don't believe in marking books, annotating books, or underlining things, but this one I do because I read it all the time, and so I've been reading this for many years. I mean, we've lived here, I think, like I said, I've been reading St. John of the Cross going on 50 years. And then I said I bought the works of St. Teresa of Avila. This is volume 1 of her collected works. You have Her Life is in here, which I underline, and then you have Her Life is in here. the book of her life is in this volume. And then in volume 2 is The Way of Perfection in the Interior Castle, which he's very famous for. I do underline in these volumes also. In volume 3 of St. Teresa of Avila's collected works, you have the foundations for her Carmelite order. And you have some poetry, some other miscellaneous writings. So I bought these many years ago and I read them off and on. So yeah, so I like reading about St. Teresa of Avila and St. John of the Cross. I believe that the Christian life is one of prayer, unceasing prayer, living in constant fellowship and communion with the triune God. So I'm really enjoying this. And so I read that today, The Fire Within on prayer. And today I volunteered at the Book Nook, the library used bookstore, from 10 to 1. And today it rained. It was 47 degrees. It's going to get colder. It's supposed to get icy tomorrow. But at the Book Nook, I showed this memoir by Larry McMurtry. Books that we know Larry McMurtry from his famous book Lonesome Dove that was made into a movie. I have Lonesome Dove downstairs. I read it many years ago. It's the only thing I've really read except his memoirs. I've read his memoirs, but I have not really read his novels. I read his memoir, Walter Benjamin and the Dairy Queen, and then I read his little memoir of him visiting the Pacific Islands, Tahiti. But I read this today at the Book Nook, Books, a memoir by Larry McMurtry. I like reading about bookmen, people who sell books, people who have bookstores, people who love books, people who know about books. So I read this today. I got in the mail. I told you I've been reading this evening. 9th Street Women, Lee Krasner, Elaine de Kooning, Grace Hartigan, Joan Mitchell, Alan Frankenthaler, 5 Painters in the Movement That Changed Modern Art by Mary Gabriel. This is on the abstract art movement in New York City, probably 40s, 50s, maybe towards the end of the 60s. So I was reading that, and I mentioned that I was going to get that I had this already, this book by Mary Gabriel, Notorious Victoria, The Life of Victoria Woodhull, Uncensored. And then I got today one of her other books I got in the mail today, Love and Capital, Karl and Jenny Marx, The Birth of a Revolution. These are like biographies, but I was really impressed by the 9th Street Women, how researched it was, how thorough. And I got this used for almost nothing. I think I got it for $4. It goes for $35. I got it used from some used bookstore. So I got that in the mail, and I look forward to reading it someday. I read also this evening How Fiction Works by James Wood. Really enjoying this. At the Book Nook, I brought home this big novel I saw in the back room. When they get donations, the Book Nook, they go in the back room and then they price them. And I saw this big, huge novel back there last week, and I put a note on it that I wanted to buy it. And so I bought it for $5. The reason why I didn't know anything about this novel, it's called The Instructions by Adam Levin. It was translated out of Hebrew by 2 Jewish translators into English. I can't pronounce their names. But reason why I bought this, not knowing anything about it, because it's published by McSweeney. Anything that you see by McSweeney, I would buy. It's McSweeney's is a small publishing company in San Francisco. They put out a magazine called The Believers, and they put out books. And if I see a McSweeney anything, I'll buy it if it's really cheap. And so what I've read about this, it's like Infinite Jest and Philip Roth, that kind of thing. You have to look it up. I can't begin to describe what it is, but if you're really curious, you can look this up on the internet or Goodreads. The Instructions by Adam Levin. And then I bought this book for my take-home book, The Inventing the Garden. This is a history of gardens. I don't know why I have this fascination with gardens and the whole, because I don't have a garden except a little plot of dirt that I plant wildflowers every year just to take photos. But I really like this book. I like looking at gardens, and maybe I just like nature. I like, if I had a lot of money, I would have a garden and have somebody be my gardener. But I don't really like to garden necessarily. But it has all kinds of neat illustrations. It was only $4, and you know, it's really a nice book. My wife said when I brought it home, "You have so many books like this." I know, but I can't resist them. I just like books about gardens and about nature, and it's just a nice book. And it cost, oh, I don't know, if you bought it new, it probably cost you $50. Yeah, it's published by the J. Paul Getty Museum. Published this book, so got that the bookmark today. So that's my book world on a Monday. Like I said, I'll probably be reading this tonight after I shut down the videos. 9th Street Women. I really like this book. I was reading it again this evening and really enjoying How Fiction Works by James Wood. These essays. It's just, this is a good book if you are into literature, analysis of literature, how fiction works. And I'm liking books. A Memoir by Larry McMurtry, reading about bookmen, and I'm reading Mystical Theology, Fire Within, on prayer. And can't go wrong reading St. Teresa of Avila and St. John of the Cross. But as I always say, read the Bible. I mean, I don't agree 100% with St. Teresa of Avila. I don't agree 100% with St. John of the Cross, or John Calvin, or Martin Luther, or this 17th century English Puritans, or Billy Graham, or D.L. Moody, or Charles Finney, or any denomination, Charismatic, Pentecostal, Baptist, Presbyterian, Methodist, Episcopalian, Roman Catholic, Coptic, Eastern Orthodoxy. I go by the Bible, and that's what I go by. And I've been a Christian going on since 1970. The Lord saved me in 1970, and I still go by the Bible. And I seek to live according to its teachings and the power of the Holy Spirit. You can't live the Christian life in your own strength. You have to do it in the power and the strength of the Holy Spirit. But I do believe that the Christian life is one of prayer, and you can learn a lot about prayer among the monastic orders. People who lived lives of prayer. St. Teresa of Avila, St. John of the Cross lived lives of prayer. They were very active in the world. They were very busy in the world, but they also lived not only contemplative lives, not only actively in the world, but they also lived a contemplative life, and I think there's to be a balance. So I like reading about prayer. I collect books on prayer. I seek to live a life of prayer. I fail, but you just keep on seeking the Lord. So this is my Monday reads. I'm having a cup of tea. It's now 10 at night here in Southwest Michigan. I'll write in my diary. I'll read about the abstract art movement in New York City. And yeah, tomorrow's a Tuesday. Yeah, so I hope you had a good weekend. I hope you have a good reading week. Thank you for the new subscribers. Feel free to comment. And I hope you all are doing well. Until next time, bye.